So let me tell you just a little bit about Sam Cook. Sam Cook comes to us from the Twin Cities, Minnesota, which I think most of you know where that is, probably. Now Sam has been doing poetry slam, I think longer than I have, before 2007?
About 2007.
Great, as long as I have, but he's prettier than I am, so that makes it better. Sam Cook has also been on 2 consecutive National Slam teams of the National Poetry Slam, which doesn't happen very often. And today he's going to rock our faces off metaphorically with poetry. Literally, it'd be really gross. Metaphorically, so would you please join me in welcoming Sam Cook to the stage?
Riding the Hudson Line north, the train sounded like it was sobbing as we slid out of Grand Central Station. This story is about a character who is not me. It is important you remember I am not him. When I was old enough, I joined the Army. I learned exactly how little one man can do with 2 hands. They sent me home on account of a growing fear of crowds honorably discharged. The service is a job I did that I just don't talk about. So I moved to New York City. I love to ride trains and subways, and what better place to face my fears? Riding the Hudson Line north, the train was humming quietly to itself. The rustle of newspapers was the loudest noise. You could tell who was sleeping by their breath. And then a child began to cry, quietly at first, and then louder, until that rustle and hum was replaced with lit wick tantrum, with sobs involuntary, the child's voice climbing pitch like fire up pine trees. The child was howling, the passengers were shouting, his mother was shrieking, "He is sick, I am sorry, he is sick," and they were shouting back, shouting at her. Women were standing up in their seats. I could feel the rocks cracking against the walls. This was not any kind of dream. There was a man in Carhartt coveralls standing up in the aisle, his face thrust into their seats. This woman was riding alone with 2 children. From 2 seats back, I could smell this man. From behind, he could have been my grandfather. The man grabbed the eldest child by a skinny brown wrist, and everything stopped. People kept on shouting, I think. I don't remember really. I stood up. This train's passengers were white, and it did not take her hijab to mark her as different. I took 2 steps towards her Carhartt armor to stay. Like, I panicked for a moment. I made eyes at the horizon. I pretended I was still a soldier. I stepped without breath and touched the man's arm. I saluted and said, "Sir, I can take it from here." I took the child's now bruised wrist like it were a parcel or he were a prisoner released, and returned him to his mother, and it was over. Except that I asked you to remember, this man was not me, because this is a true story, only that I did nothing. I sat across from this woman and did nothing. I made eye contact and wished I had not. The man shook the child and shouted until everything was silent but him. I did not speak up. Each of us only gets a few opportunities to show another person that humanity is more than just the people behind you who will trample you when you fall, and I did not speak up. This is a secret I have kept so long, I know it like a chipped tooth. I have rubbed myself raw on the edges of my own cowardice as long as I can remember. This is how I remember how hard it can be to speak up. Woo! I wanted to say thank you to all the open mic poets and ask you guys to give another round of applause for them. It takes I also, while sitting here, realized we have a skylight above us. I've been here before and I had no idea. I didn't notice it all before. It's really beautiful. So if you didn't notice, check it out. Like I said, I'm from the Twin Cities, live in Minneapolis. What Andrew didn't quite get right is that I wasn't just on 2 consecutive teams. I've been on 4. I was on 2 consecutive teams that won the National Poetry Slam.
Yeah, well,
You know, I'm a little bit proud of it. That was kind of fun. So I'm not going to talk a ton between poems because I'm not that funny or like witty on stage. So I'm just going to roll through some stuff. I hope you guys like it. And this is another poem.
yeah.
We met in the library. She sat down across from me, got a stack of books between us like a paper exclamation point, and said, I don't feel much like studying. And there was this part of me that really wanted to stay focused in the following day's calculus exam, but whatever part it was, I never really heard about it in biology, so I ignored it. And to this day, my epidermis thanks me, because that girl licked me from neck to knee. I was transfixed in a moment of mathematical clarity. The world as I knew it turned to numbers. It turned out the text to Odysseus' tongue concealed original algorithms of love, the friction of which she applied to mine, a kiss in which we shared one twisting topography of taste buds, our bodies grinding across one little like continents according to forces as primal and furious as plate tectonic. She was lava. I was quake. And for a moment, even the need for eloquence and agony abandoned me. My life became a sine wave, like study, fuck, study, fuck. Everything but her between those troughs and peaks, and this was peace. But I still had trouble sleeping. I would wake from nightmares, still speaking frantic in the spiral logic of the dream, and she would say to me, be easy, sweet boy. Take a deep breath. Let my arms around you be the only borders you are concerned with, and emotions between us be this new country's only Congress. Let your worried mind hang like a full moon reflecting the light of our fusion. Now, I had barely finished saying, that's no moon, it's a space station, when she said, our atoms, our solar systems, and all of mine are shining on you. Our molecules, galaxies far, far away. My hand on your chest just wants a squadron of X-Wings flying warp 9s like Death Star in your head, and I love you like the Force. I love you like the Force guiding glowing torpedoes of orgasm from synapse to axon on a trench-run bullseye course for your reactor core. And I tell you, I have no idea how she said any of that with a straight face. But I was so charmed, I never even mentioned that warp drives are not from Star Wars. They are from Star Trek. Be easy, she said, and let her fingers play across the surface of my chest as the spiral light of the dream flowed back into me, molten gold, and made believe I began to recognize the ratio of time between touches. She was tapping out the Fibonacci sequence and counterpoint to the sine waves of my breath, and I have no idea how I ever let anyone tell me math wasn't sexy. But she is the inspiration for the equation, the reason that once I am done with products and sums, the only thing I want to be is one of 2 parallel lines.